Hey, Book Dragons! It is your girl, Lindsay, here with another episode of the Spine Bookcast Chronicles of a Bookshop. So today I am with the lovely Annie J. Harris, who wrote Cry Wolf. She is one of our authors that's in the bookshop, and she is going to be our author of the month for our local author book club for August. How are you doing, Annie?
Great. Yourself?
Good, good. Okay. So, as always, let's just get into it. How did you get into reading?
It'd probably be in high school, actually. I was like that weird, awkward, shy kid in class, and I would always try to find ways to be away from people. So while everybody was eating in the cafeteria, I'd go hide in the library.
Yeah, no, I've been that kid.
Yeah, so I think I got hooked on Terry Brooks or something first. It was like Sword of Shannara series.
Didn't they just make that into a movie or
I don't know.
TV? I swear I feel like they just made that into a TV series.
I have no idea. I don't follow TV series too often, but yeah, I got huge into the fantasy thing and everything. I think it was just because it was just an escape from the world.
Sure. Oh, yeah, because the real world sucks.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So what was your favorite? Do you remember what your first book was that, that's for me reading?
It was a really jump off the page because usually I was into all the fantasy stuff, but there was this girl in the library. She was like, what type of books you like? And I was like, fantasy, dragons, werewolves. And she's like, well, this isn't one of those, but read the first page, and if you don't like it, you can put it up.
And what was it?
It was The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold.
Oh, messed up first book.
I fell in love. I like that twisted stuff. So,
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, just...
We are in the era of true crime podcasts and documentaries. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that kind of hit it off for me, and I went on a huge book rampage. Had to find every book.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, that was pretty much my childhood in a nutshell.
What about that book? Gosh, hang on. I will quote that out. So what about that particular book do you think... what struck you that made you hit that so hard?
Well, for one, the girl, she reminded me of me as far as she was super shy. She had this crush and everything. She was kind of afraid to speak up to and everything, but she was pining over him. But at the same time, the fact that the book had turned so morbid and dark real quick, I mean, it was just, there was so much heart there. And it wasn't just about this girl got killed by a serial killer. It was just, one, the father's love for the girl and just whole just acceptance and growth, watching her family, how they mourned and coped with everything. And it was just so in deep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, usually, not saying that there are some books out there that are flat. I mean, you just have a direct story and that's it. But, there was just so much to that book.
Sure. I love how you got to see in the book, and I can't remember if they did this in the movie or not, but you got to see what everyone's life turned out to be.
Yeah.
In the end. Yeah. And what that meant for everybody.
And they show most of what's in the book. They left out a lot of more adult things in the book.
Sure.
Because the book was definitely a lot more adult. But
yes,
I'm glad that they did leave some of that out.
Yes, it would have made it very, very hard.
Yeah.
To, I think,
just watch
do some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been very hard to do some of that.
Yeah.
But I remember I heard something about Stanley Tucci where he said that he would be perfectly willing to play the bad guy, but they wanted to he said, you have to make me look unlike anybody else because I want to be able to work in Hollywood again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the bad guy's one of the worst. Oh my gosh.
And they leave out a lot of the stuff that he does, which is great in the movie. But yeah, I love Stanley Tucci. And every movie he plays in, it's different anyway.
He's one of those actors that it doesn't matter what it is. Mm-hmm. I will absolutely go watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. So is there a fantasy book right now that you're super into?
I am really big into the Fourth Wing series right now.
Okay, don't spoil it because I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I haven't read the second one yet. I've already got the third one pre-ordered, but I just finished the first one, and hands down, it has become my favorite book series ever.
I am into the Crescent City series right now, and I have the first 2 books of the 4th one, but I haven't gotten the 3rd one yet. And I want to get the 3rd one so that I can read them all together.
Yeah.
Because I'm neurotic in that way.
Yeah, I'm the same.
But yeah, I want to get the 3rd one too. But I want to be able to just sit down and read it and just be left alone so that I can read it.
It's like I've had Iron Flame, which is the sequel to Fourth Wing. I've had that for maybe 3 or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, well, maybe I need to read some other books on the shelf, and when it gets closer to the 3rd one releasing,
that's what I'm doing too.
Then I'll pick up the Iron Flame.
And I've got the first 3 books in the Crescent City series, so I don't know if there's going to be more. But, like, I'm in between reading yours and Emily Barlow's, and then the Crescent City series 2nd book, and then I've got a book on tape, book on tape. I sound like I'm 90. Yeah. I have an audiobook that I'm trying to read, plus I have another, I have a problem.
I can't do that. I have to focus on one book at a time, or else I start getting them confused.
A lot of people say that, but I can power through 7 books at a time, and it takes me about a sentence to go, okay, I know where I am. Okay. And, like, everybody says that to me. I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah.
I've just always been able to.
Mm-hmm.
My first big fantasy book was also morbid. It was The Stand.
Yeah.
I read that book in, like, 9th grade, and it's still one of my favorite Stephen King books.
Yeah.
It's so jacked.
My favorite, I was never huge on Stephen King, don't hate me, but my favorite book, it wasn't even one of his big books. It was Cycle of the Werewolf.
I don't think I've read that one.
It's short. It's actually very simple, but, like, it goes through every month of this werewolf cycle and everything. But
is that like Silver Bullet?
I have no idea. But
or maybe that's a different book.
I never read Silver Bullet, but basically you're trying to figure out who the werewolf is. You're introduced to all these townspeople, and, like, you're kind of like, well, it could be this person.
So now I got to look for that.
It's pretty good. It's short. You can finish it in a day, but
Lloyd is going to kill me. I've read that book. That book is great, because Lloyd loves Stephen King.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm going to get grief for that. But that's funny. So do you have a favorite author?
I'm all over the place. It just depends on my mood.
Yes.
So right now, because I'm on the Fourth Wing, Rebecca Yarros.
Sure.
Oh gosh, I have to stop and think. Like, it just depends, because, like, when it comes to sci-fi, it's probably going to be more towards, like, Peter Benchley. I have, like, all of his hardcover first edition collection.
She gave me a really nice copy of Jaws, which you will pry out of my cold dead hands, because I love that book so much.
I'm sorry, I'm not bringing in my hardcover Peter Benchley collection.
No,
but yeah.
See, I feel that way about Sarah Addison Allen. Every single book that I have by her is a hardback. And I will pre-order it. Mm-hmm. I don't even care what the title is. The minute I know she's releasing one, order.
Yep.
And somebody actually asked me when she came out with Other Birds, they're like, you don't even know what I don't care. Yeah. I have never been disappointed by a single book that she's ever written.
Yeah. I feel that. I'm all over the place. Like, I mean, there hasn't been, like, a direct author that I've really collected much of besides really just...
You're the first person that's ever said Peter Benchley.
I love Peter Benchley.
What about him?
Well, like, it's just so much suspense. I mean, there's build-up and everything. I know they're slow going, but, I mean, it's just the wonder of what's out there, what could happen and everything. And, like, all of his books have, like, this recurring theme and just, like, kind of like this funny humor towards women, just always mentioning a shark in there. I mean, he pretty much puts Jaws in all of his books. Like,
I haven't read a lot of him.
He's got a book called The Island. They actually made it a movie with Michael Caine long time ago. But I
feel like I've seen that.
The book was really good, and they were talking about, well, they're on a boat and everything, and the guy's actually afraid of the water after watching that movie from 1975. And it's like, oh, I wonder what that would be.
I watched a movie based on a Peter Benchley book, and now I can't think of what it is.
Creature or Beast?
No. It was a shipwreck movie where they were going and they were trying to get these things out of this shipwreck, and they had to deal with, and I swear I thought it was a Peter Benchley book, but it may not be.
I don't know of any shipwreck one that he's got.
What? Oh, it'll hit me like 1 a.m. or something. But they have these voodoo guys, right? That go after, it's got Jacqueline Bisset in the movie, and they go after them because they're trying to raid this shipwreck, right?
Yeah.
And they have this chicken foot that they're doing this voodoo ritual, and it's so stupid. It is the dumb. But my mom made us these little voodoo chicken feet out of clay that would constantly. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I swear I thought it was a Peter Benchley book, but it may not be now. I can't. It'll, like I said, it'll hit me like at 1 a.m.
I know he had The Island, which was a lot about pirates and the Turks and Caicos, and then he had Beast, which was about a giant squid, and then
I think I've seen Beast.
Yeah, Beast was pretty good, and then the book was called White Shark, but the movie adaptation was called Creature.
Okay.
But it was like about a genetically altered great white shark.
I love those movies. Like that whole period from about the 50s to the 70s, where books and movies had some kind of genetically engineered something. And it was just the height of ridiculousness.
Yep.
But they're so good.
Yeah, they were so good. You just had to binge watch, like, good popcorn movies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
my friend Jess calls them Roger Corman movies. And I think he just died. And we were going to watch a whole bunch of those movies. But, like, which has got the ants in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Night of the Lepus, which is the big rabbits down in Texas. Yeah. And, all those really awful, the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Like, all those really horrible, horrible movies, but they all involve some kind of medically enhanced something or other.
See, I'm a huge, I love all that genetically altered stuff, so, I'm really big in, Jurassic Park and Resident Evil. I love those two franchises. But they're basically the same exact story.
Sure.
Just
every single time that I see something on Facebook or some kind of news where they've discovered something, like, oh, we discovered a new breed of dinosaur and we're going to try and bring it back with DNA, or we discovered a ring next to this car. No!
Have you not seen
Put it back.
Yeah.
There is legitimately an entire movie franchise that tells you why this is a terrible idea. Leave it alone.
Yep.
Stop digging shit up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start making robotics and you're like, have you not seen The Terminator?
I mean, stop it. We have people telling us not to do this. Why? Please stop. Why are you trying to bring about our early demise?
Just wonder if someone loved things like The Terminator or Jurassic Park and were like, yeah, I'd like to see that in real life. And then just...
Yeah, who the hell wants to see that in real life? So we were talking, were you the one that we were talking to Saturday about the AI and how we always say please and thank you when we're using AI for stuff? Because we had talked about Terminator, and I said I always say please and thank you when I'm asking it to do anything, because God forbid it ever happens, they're going to remember that I said please and thank you, and maybe they won't sacrifice me.
Are you ever into video games or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Detroit Become Human?
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, it's a good one. It came out, I think, around 2016 or something like that. But it's a lot about AI, these synthetically made robots, and their jobs in real life, but how advanced they could get.
Well, see, that's terrifying.
It also had a good side to it too, though. But it was one of those games that had 50 different endings. Depending on
Did you ever watch Battlestar Galactica?
No.
Okay. Everybody that's seen it, and this isn't really, at this point, it's not really a spoiler. But so, the whole beginning of it is about how humanity totally got raided by the Cylons, and they blew up humanity, and what was left of humanity had to leave and escape to space to try to find a new planet to live on, right?
Yeah.
Because we'd given technology the power to destroy us, which they promptly did. So we're all out in space, and it got very soap opera-y after a while, but it was still really great, and I finished it all the way to the end. And in the end, they find a planet, and they drop everybody off in different parts of the planet, and then you get the whole, 10,000 years later or some, don't come for me for not being accurate. But, What's happening? We've made great cities. We have robots with technology and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, did we learn nothing? We clearly,
back to what they did.
Why? Clearly, we learned nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I think that's the whole joke with humanity, though. I mean, we
never learned anything.
Books and just go out and do our own
Yes,
things.
it's like that episode of Bill Nye and the Science Guy where he was talking to our generation and going, I can't sugarcoat this shit anymore. The planet's on fucking fire. And he lights a globe on fire. And I was like, I feel like he's mad at us because we didn't pay attention.
Pretty much.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I love how science fiction books. So you look at like Star Trek with the little telecommunicators and the teleporting.
Yeah.
You know what
the
I'm talking about.
Beam me up, Scott.
Yeah. That. And all that. Dude, it's just the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's 90% of the stuff that we have now is because of science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that about that genre.
Yeah. I always loved going back, like watching the Aliens movies and whatever. Like everything from that generation. I mean, it was like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And like what the 80s thought the future was going to look like.
Oh my gosh.
All the blockiness and
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
The second one. Where is my damn hoverboard?
The hoverboard.
Although knowing my luck, I would trip and face plant and had to have like reconstructive facial surgery because the hoverboard beamed me in the face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it cracks me up when I look at movies from the 80s like what's the one with Harrison Ford and every single
Blade Runner?
Thank you. Every single time but I mean they hinted about technology being horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I will say the one movie that always struck me as really interesting with regards to technology is Tron. Have you ever seen Tron?
Tron.
Me too.
I love Tron.
You're one of the very few people that know what that is.
Yeah.
And I even have the tattoo symbol on the back of my neck of the disc.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain to my tattoo artist what this was and why I wanted it tattooed on me. Yeah. And she just crickets. I was like, just do it. It's fine.
It's so funny because my dad doesn't like stuff like that because he's like, you're in a video game, and it's like, that makes no sense. You can't go into a video game. It's like, that's why it's science fiction.
I mean, I thought that was such a cool, especially the thing that goes around going, yes, no. I did not realize the first time I saw that was what they were trying to show what binary meant.
Yeah.
And as I've watched it as an adult, I had lots of,
I was just a really big fan of the cyber bikes.
Yes.
They're called.
Speaking of wanting one.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I want one.
The Tron Legacy movie with Garrett Hedlund.
So good.
That slow motion scene where it just comes out.
Chills.
I'm pretty sure I went back and like rewound that scene so many times.
Okay, so I have like the 20th anniversary collector's edition DVD, right? Okay, so when I heard that they were going to make a sequel, the fuck you are?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Don't do that. James Bay or Michael Bay. Michael Bay has already jacked up my childhood so bad with the Ninja Turtles and the Transformers. Stop.
Everybody's touched the Ninja Turtles.
Leave my childhood alone.
Yep.
This is the way, But then I saw Jeff Bridges was coming back, and I was like, okay.
Had all the original cast.
Has a possibility. And so my husband took me, and I remember sitting there with my arms crossed going, please don't fuck up my childhood. Please, please, God, let them have done this really well and not fuck up my childhood, because I will never get over it if they ruin it.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
And apparently they're doing a third one.
They've been
And Jeff Bridges is coming back, and so is 30 Seconds to Mars. Jared Leto is going to be in it.
Oh, really?
And he was in the Blade Runner 2010, 2030 or what, which would not be I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it. It would be an interesting thing.
There was some conspiracy theory about Blade Runner being related to another movie series, and I can't remember what it was, but it was like, it was supposed to be like confirmed that it was connected, and I can't even remember what the series was.
I would love to know what that was.
Yeah, just gotta Google it.
I love conspiracy theories in movies and how things are connected. Like the whole Stephen King thing with like Carrie and all of those movies.
Dark Tower.
Yes, all of it. When I first heard that, I kind of had that, what?
Yeah.
And then you just have the flash of all the movies going, oh, God.
Yeah, The Mist.
Oh, The Mist messed me up so bad.
Again, I love twisted stuff.
But did you hear? Okay, so my introduction to The Mist was that actual CD that they put out, where it was in the audio sound, so you had stuff on the left side and the right side, and then they did the movie, and it was what? God.
Now, see, the ending was supposed to be completely different, and then Stephen King actually said about Frank Darabont, like, he actually liked his ending better.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, wow, like, usually you don't get that too often, but...
Well, so, the Hannibal Lecter series with Thomas Harris. I can't remember for sure.
Watch those ones.
Oh, my God. Okay. So, in the first movie, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So, the second movie... They completely changed the entire ending. And I remember not knowing that they were going to do that because I'd read the book. And in the book, Hannibal Lecter kidnaps Clarice Starling and brainwashes her in pretty graphic sexual nature so that she's in love with him.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes disappearing for 2 or 3 years, right? And Barney, who was the like nurse guy inside of the prison, that he was in.
Yeah.
So he's touring around going to all these famous museums and he sees them. And he just kind of goes, nope, and leaves and doesn't say anything to anybody, even though he knows that the whole world is looking for her. He just goes, no, thank you, and immediately leaves.
See, Steve Alton, he wrote the Meg books.
I love those books.
They came out in the 90s originally, and like I got hooked on those when I was in high school. And then when they announced the movie, I was like, yes! Well, when I watched...
Second movie.
Oh, gosh.
It's awful.
I couldn't do the second movie. We literally went with a bunch of weird friends just to like laugh at this movie.
The first one was great.
Yeah, loved the first one.
The second one, I want to know what drugs they were on.
I think they were just going on that whole Fast and Furious kick to where it just crazy action.
Bad. And Jessica and I love bad movies, and we were watching that, and we just had that moment of, what the
my husband, he loved, like, he hated the first one. And I'm like,
really?
How did you hate that? But he's already played like monster movies. But then we go to see the second one. He likes the popcorn, the crazy action stuff. So he loved it.
I do too sometimes.
Yeah.
But not in, that was awful.
Well, it's like when I went back and reread the whole books recently, I was like, no, wait a minute. Hardly anything was the same from book one to the movie. Like, practically the only thing that they kept was this main guy's name is Jonas, and there was a giant megalodon. But when I was in movie theaters, this might be spoilers for anybody who, hasn't watched it yet. I was waiting at the very end after they killed the giant shark.
Yeah.
And I was like nudging whoever was next to me in the movie theater. I'm like, come on, do it. Come on, do it. And then a baby shark comes swimming out. I was like, yes, sequel. And everybody around me like, what?
That's like with Lake Placid, where you see
Betty White
with the little alligator swimming up, feeding the toes,
nibbling on mommy's
Holy crap! Betty White made that flipping movie.
All of her scenes with the cops.
When she dropped that first motherfucker, I remember going, Betty!
If I had a dick, I'd tell you to suck it.
Oh my God.
All of her quotes.
I love her so much. And I have always loved her in Golden Girls, but I will tell you, when she was on Saturday Night Live, and they did the whole sweet version of thank you for being a friend for her, oh, that's really sweet, but I really like my version better. And she pulls on the leather mask and does the whole death metal, like slam dance with blood and baseball bats, and the whole cast is freaking out. I don't know if I have ever laughed that hard in my entire flipping life.
she can do the same role in every movie and it never gets old.
Never.
Just she's
and
phenomenal.
Golden Girls is so much funnier as an adult than it ever was as a kid because stuff went right over my head. And now I sit and I watch it and I'm like, my grandmother let me sit and watch these. Jesus.
I can't even remember it too much. It's been so many years.
The sexual innuendo.
Oh, I'm sure.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I'm sure. With her, especially in the show, I'm sure.
I think she would have been really proud of me because Jessica and I were standing in Target on New Year's Eve or day. I can't remember which one she died on. And somebody said, yeah. And we were talking about Betty White. And somebody just said, yeah, she died. And I went, no fucking way, in the middle of Target. And the woman looked at me and I said, are you serious? And she went, yeah. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh, gosh. Making a huge scene at
like,
Target.
Are you kidding? I was so mad. Like, really?
Yeah. I mean, that was right. I mean, she only had like a few days or something before
It was like 2 days before her birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, like, what is it, 100 years celebration?
Yes.
Yeah, they were going to have a big TV show and everything. It's like, what? Like April Fools?
You couldn't have waited like 2 days?
2 days? Just hanging there?
Come on.
Like,
gosh. I miss her.
Yeah.
And then this whole week alone, the amount of people that have just, it's like, no, we do not need a repeat of 2016.
Yeah.
Stop it right now.
Everything's going crazy.
That sucked so bad.
Have you ever watched Hard Rain with Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman?
Yes.
Betty White was in there.
What?
Yeah. You remember, like, there was the dam that was flooding over in the town. And
yeah.
Christian Slater was breaking into a house just to get to dry ground and away from the thieves.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, there's a bear trap on the floor.
Right.
And she was, like, this stubborn old woman who was defending her house from looters with her husband.
God. I gotta go back and rewatch that.
Every line in there. She's, like, bossing her man around. And eventually, like, they get captured by the bad guys. And they're in a little rowboat and everything. And the bad guys swap them out for Christian Slater and everything for the money. And, her husband's rowing. And she's like, faster, Henry, before they change their mind. And he starts turning the boat around. And she goes, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to ask him to shoot me. Or you. Either way.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
So I love, my favorite genre of movies is disaster movies.
Yes, I like disaster.
Give me the really awful, it's time for the speech to rally the troops. And, you know, but I will say my favorite part has become watching my husband's face while we're watching disaster movies.
Yep.
And so we watched Moonfall
I haven't
recently.
seen that one yet.
Holy crap. I wish that I had a camera on his face for the moments of, wow, this is and just the okay. And like we watched Hurricane Heist and he just Jesus. As I'm cackling my way through this entire movie, just the looks on his face.
Yep.
And he knows that I love him.
Yeah.
The worse they are, the better.
Uh-huh.
I love me a disaster movie.
I like all the weird dry comedy in movies. Like, we had a little pool party recently where our buddies put up a giant projector screen and we sat in a swimming pool because it was so hot.
Did you watch Jaws? I want to do that so bad.
No, I wish, but we watched Twister.
Even better.
And I'm just cackling at all the little jokes because, I mean, I gotta go, Julia, we got cows. And I'm sitting there dying laughing. Hoyt's just looking at me like, I can't take you nowhere. Yes,
absolutely. I remember my mom and I were laughing so hard in that movie that people were staring at us. I kind of am nervous about the twisters.
I'm very nervous. The first trailer, didn't get me. The second trailer, I was kind of like, okay, we're going somewhere.
Don't force trying to recapture the magic that Twister was.
Yeah. I feel like I don't think it's a sequel. I feel like it's like a remake, but they've given them all different names. So it's not Bill and Joe.
I'm so tired of remakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, now I would like a remake of Jaws because it's been so long.
No.
Sorry.
No.
I want to see a more realistic shark.
Absolutely not.
I want to see a more realistic shark.
Jaws is canon. You cannot remake that movie.
Yep. Again, like, that's my favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
I would love, like, if they did a true remake.
No. Because you know what they're going to do if they do that? They'll make it all bloody and gory and violent.
True, but
and
like
it won't have the same sense of humor in it.
Yeah.
That, like them getting drunk and singing "Show Me the Way to Go Home." Jessica and I know every single line in that song, and we sing it all the time.
Yeah.
Or we're going to need a bigger boat, or tell them I'm going fishing.
Yep.
You cannot redo that with the same sense of humor that.
And it's like the chemistry between Quint and Hooper, because they hated each other in real life.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, you couldn't fake that.
So Quint, I love this story now that I'm old enough. So I have seen all the James Bond movies.
Yes.
Okay. I've even read all the books.
I haven't read all the books.
Okay. Read all the books. So, and the movie From Russia with Love.
Yes.
The young blonde guy.
You told me Saturday.
That's Quint.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen both of those movies 50,000 times, but never back to back.
You ever watch Gilligan's Island?
Oh, yeah.
You remember the little blonde jungle boy?
Vaguely, yeah.
You know who that was?
God, no.
I believe it was Kurt Russell.
That doesn't really surprise me because back in that era, Kurt Russell was in everything.
Yeah, he was like 8 or 10 years old in Gilligan's Island, and it's like...
I don't understand how all those people ended up on Gilligan's Island, but no one could get the hell off.
Yeah, I think that was the humor of it.
God.
And then the Howells brought all their stuff, pretty much.
Mm-mm. And then they did the movie... And what happens? They go on a damn boat and get stuck on the same damn... I would not have gotten anywhere near...
Return to Gilligan's Island. And then they didn't have Tina Fey because, like, she had some conflicting things. She said that Gilligan's Island ruined her acting career or something.
Oh, my...
It's like, I think you did that yourself, but okay.
I think that whole run of 70s shows were just ham. All of them. So cheesy.
Yeah. I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, but it's like they were just still fun to watch.
Wonder Woman, the $1 million man or whatever the one. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
I love that the books from like Peter Benchley's era though are still famously popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love them.
I'm a huge, and it's like, it was such a shame because like he didn't want that image of the shark to be like that in the movie, but I mean, he was even to the point of being thrown off the set because he didn't agree with the ending that Steven, what's his name? Director, Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
He didn't agree with the ending. That was Steven Spielberg's first movie, I believe.
Yeah.
He was like 24, but Steven Spielberg wanted explosions and booms, keep the audience
That's one
thrilled.
of the best line though. Smile, you son of a bitch. That's such a great line.
And that, like, Peter Benchley had an issue with it because in the book, the shark just floats to the surface dead after being shot and poked.
The fact that you can hear the shark roaring cracks me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, cracks me up.
Yep.
And that's why you can't make it because that will just, no.
Yeah.
There are just some movies, and I say this all the time. Every time that I see a remake, I just want to point at the 3 bookshelves of all the local and independent authors and go, why are you remaking things?
Yeah, there's so many options.
Can you just...
Yeah.
Literally, I can pick 15 books off the shelf right now that would make great movies.
Yeah.
Yours included.
What? No.
Yes.
I'm
absolutely.
honored, but...
Yes. Like, literally, make any of these into TV series or movies, and they'll be better than the 15th million remake.
Yeah. They need some new ideas, and it's like, go turn to books, turn to video games.
And they kind of are.
Yeah.
Like the Wheel of Time and what's the one? The Silo.
I'm not sure.
But I couldn't get into that one. And then Dark Matter, but I'm struggling with that one because it's very depressing. But my husband... Dark Matter has got Jennifer Connelly, and I can't think what the guy's name is. And it's based on a book that my husband read, and he really liked it. I think it's even called Dark Matter. And my brother-in-law, Andy, read it too. And it's about this guy who invents this box that allows you to travel to different timelines.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's dark. Like
Really?
it's heavy and dark, and it's making it hard for me to stay invested because everything is so just Jesus. This movie's making me depressed.
Yeah, I'm not into that much. I like dark stuff. I like twisted stuff. But when it gets to the point like depression, it's kind of like
it just you want something to root for, and right now there's really just like this is all just fucking horrible.
Well, it's like Resident Evil series. Like I love the video games and I love all the media to it. But it's like every time they come out with a movie or a TV show,
it's awful.
It's nothing like the games.
No,
and it's like my favorite character is Leon. And it's like the newest Resident Evil movie, Welcome to Raccoon City.
I quit watching them.
It is just ridiculous.
Same thing with like Alien. Jessica and I love Alien 1 and Alien 2. Mm-hmm. Or Aliens.
Yeah.
After that, for us, that it ends. Well, because the third movie sucks.
James Cameron has mentioned coming back and possibly doing something with it. He said that if he were to pick up the series again, he would pick up where he left off before. Because he's very picky about that. So he would pick up with Alien 3.
Alien 3 sucks.
Yeah.
So bad.
He would skip
that one and just pick up where 2 is.
Well, it's like, like Terminator, the Terminator series, because he did number 2.
Yeah.
And, well, the thing is, they came out with so many more Terminator movies.
So stupid.
Well, then Dark Fate, James Cameron picked it up again, and I knew what he was going to do. He was going to go back and make it number 3. Even though there's already Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do that, tell a new story. Mm-hmm. Stop remaking the same story that you already remade in a different way.
Well, they made it completely like, because he didn't do the Rise of the Machines.
Yeah.
He came back with Dark Fate, and it was a completely different story.
What's wrong with Matt Smith in it?
I have no idea.
Because he plays a villain. It was the first time I ever saw Matt Smith as a villain. And I am a Doctor Who Matt Smith girl. That is my doctor. And he's such a dork. But then I saw him in that, and he played a villain, and it was one of those, why am I attracted to this? He's a bad guy. I feel very conflicted.
I find that, I can't talk. I find myself in that situation a lot.
I am definitely in my morally gray man reading of, I want the guy who's going to burn the world to the fucking ground because you looked at me funny.
Yeah.
I don't want the hero.
Yeah. My one of my favorite characters in my book actually is kind of like that morally gray character. Like, he's kind of a vigilante. He does do bad things. Yeah. But it's kind of like you understand why he does them, and you kind of would root for
I haven't gotten to your book yet, so I really want to read it.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
But see, I love that it has a morally gray character, because I think that morally gray characters in books are actually more realistic than the hero who's going to... And I mean, I say this knowing I love Superman.
Yeah.
So I realize the conflict. However...
Yeah. There's so much more twists and turns to those just morally gray
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because what is it that's going to make that character be the better man?
Yeah.
Or why would he choose that when his whole nature has been to just railroad everybody?
Uh-huh.
Like, I love character arcs.
Yeah.
Even if it's a really bad, like with the whole comic book series, Daredevil. I can't stand Matt. I hate him. He is such a whiny bitch. And I've never enjoyed that comic.
Yeah.
Until you got to the series where you had Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin. Mm-hmm. And he was a horrible dude. And he killed somebody by slamming his head repeatedly in a car door. Ooh. Okay? He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
However, Jessica and I both firmly agree on this. There is a scene where he goes and he wants this painting back. And he's pissed at his henchman, and he like kills the henchman because he didn't get the painting back. So he's like, if you want something done, do it yourself. So he goes over to this old lady's house, and he was going to beat her to death and take this painting back until he found out she was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh. So
for him, that was a line. Tells her to keep the painting, apologizes, and leaves. And I was like, that's the line? That's a line.
Yeah.
He has a code of conduct. That's a line.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get behind that. You're a villain, but you have a line you won't cross.
Yeah.
to me, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whereas Matt was just, I'm blind. I'm going to beat everybody up, but I can't get out of my own problems, and I need to. Oh God, shut up! But like to me, that was more interesting. Why is that the line for you? You just beat someone's head in with a car, but you're not going to take a painting from a Holocaust victim.
Yep.
That is an interesting story arc.
I love stuff like that. Just, I mean, you got all these like devil may care characters, and then it's like you don't want to cross paths with them, and then they do something so light, like give a kid a piece of candy or something, or walk a elderly person across the street, and it's like
weird.
You see the heart that they actually have, and it's like, maybe we're not so different.
Yes, it makes you wonder, okay, so there's not just one layer to you.
Yeah. You just don't go around killing people for no reason.
Yes, there's a reason.
Yep.
You know, like some of the books, I read one book where this girl shows up to an MMA training facility and she wants to learn to box. And she's this tiny little thing, but occasionally shows up with bruises, right? Yeah. And the guys know what's going on, but they're just not going to ask her until she finally asks one of them, like, how do you get out of a chokehold?
Yeah.
And he pulls her aside and he says, what specifically do you want to learn how to do? And she tells him, and she
almost reminds me of that movie Enough with
oh God. Even though it has Jennifer Lopez in it, I really love that movie.
That was a good movie.
I'm not a fan of hers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But God, that's a good movie. When she beats the shit out of him at the end of the movie.
You're just rooting the whole time like, yeah, do
it! It's like the Sally Field movie with Kiefer Sutherland, where he plays the guy who rapes and kills her daughter. Mm-hmm. And she has to sit there and watch the DA screw up the case.
Yeah.
And he gets off. And she manages to get him in her house attacking her, and she's laying on the floor with the gun, and the entire movie theater is screaming, shoot him in the face! Because by the time you see everything that he does, once he figured out what she's trying to do, he's like, shoot him! Do it!
Yep.
That no one will convict you.
Where the crawdads sing.
Oh my God. I love that book so much. I read that book on a recommendation, and I think I read it in a day and a half. And I have a hard copy. Mm-hmm. I love that book so much. Yep. And Jessica and I went to go watch the movie, and I remember having that same thought of, please don't mess this movie up.
Yep.
Because it is a beautifully written book.
Yes, it was very beautiful. See, my dad went to go watch it in theaters when it first came out, and he kept showing me the trailer, and I was like, it doesn't look like something I'd watch. It's like, I want explosions.
Yeah.
But he kept saying it was so good, so good. Well, then I was like, I'll pick up the book and see what it's like.
It's a beautiful book.
Oh, yeah. I think I gave you my soft copy, went out and bought a hardcover. And
that's what I did, too. Yep. I sold the soft copy. I was like, no, I got to have a hard copy of this.
Yep. Found the hard copy first edition and then went to watch the movie, and I was like, yep, this is one of my new favorites.
Okay, I will say that we had a funny moment because I admittedly, and my husband agree with me, and other people agree with me, I am horrible to watch movies with sometimes.
I am too. I won't shut up.
So we were sitting there, and you know the scene in the movie where she has sex for the first time with what's-his-face?
The jerk.
Without even thinking about it, it was out of my mouth before it went through my brain and went, okay, two-pump Charlie, Jesus.
Yep.
And Jessica, and I started laughing so hard that it was disruptive. But then other people started laughing as soon as it was out of my mouth.
I just kept rewatching that movie just to watch, what's his name, Tate? Was he the blonde one?
Yeah.
I just kept rewatching it because I'm like, I like this Tate.
Yeah. But yes, that was out of my mouth. And other people in the movie theater had to have been thinking it because as soon as I said it, there was laughter throughout the entire movie theater. Sobbing laughter.
I got a cough real quick, sorry.
You're fine. This is a very realistic podcast, so we're going to keep my phone rings in here, so.
When I laugh a lot, I get choked up easy. I don't know why, but.
Yes. I really love how sometimes you can have a book and they'll take it and they'll make a movie out of it and it will be an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you can have a book that you love and they make a movie out of it and it's like, You understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Like, so let me ask you that. Okay, so speaking of, what book have you read that you loved that they made a movie out of that was awful, and what was one that they made a movie out that you loved?
I think I'm going to have to go with the loved one first, because most of the time, like, I'm usually not one of those person that's like, I like the book more than the movie and vice versa.
Oh, see, I'm an absolute freak about it.
I'll usually, like, there are times I've watched the movie first and then read the book, and then I've read the book first and then watched the movie. But one of my favorites was The Lovely Bones, as far as the book to the movie. I thought the movie was so gorgeous, and I was glad of the things that they left out.
Sure.
But I had such high expectations when I went in the theaters. I kept crying throughout the whole thing, and I felt like even more emotion.
Sure.
And it was just gorgeous. But as far as one that I wasn't too crazy over, I'm going to have to probably say the Steve Alton Meg, because, like, one, I mean, the main girl, her actual name is Terry Tanaka in the books, and they changed her name in the movies. But she was supposed to be throughout all the books.
Yeah.
Well, they killed her off in the movie.
Why do they do that?
And it's like, what? How are we supposed? Because they're supposed to have kids.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have kids and have an aquarium and do fun stuff and not get eaten by sharks. But yeah, no, they were that. Now that movie was closer to the book than the first movie, surprisingly.
Okay.
As far as like the bad guys,
sure.
They just again changed their names.
Sure.
But gosh, I mean that train just derailed so hardcore, and I feel like it just lost the feeling, the overall emotion that I had originally reading the books. And like, to me, I always got a Jurassic Park feel reading the Meg series.
Sure.
And now
I can see that.
Kind of like, again, I had fun watching the first movie, but now it feels very Fast and Furious. And I like Fast and Furious, but
oh, straight up.
Like, when you watch one movie and then you get another one that has a different atmosphere, it's kind of like, these don't feel like they're in the same
universe.
Yeah. It just kind of trails.
My answer for that is, I will say I still, and to this day, stand by To Kill a Mockingbird from book to movie.
Yeah.
Because it was absolutely pivotal in my DNA as a reader, because I read that in like 8th grade, 9th grade, and then watched the movie and just remember, and I say this on almost every podcast, watching Gregory Peck thunder away at that asshole redneck of a father. It is probably what has made me love legal thrillers so much. Is having the lawyer who just won't back down, you know?
Yeah.
And but I will say Cassandra Clare, and I'm really sorry, don't come for me if you listen to this. I love her Clockwork series and the City of Bones series, that all of the books, I have them all. I love them. I love them so much. I even have some of it tattooed on my arm. But the TV show and the movie have both been absolute dumpster fires. I hated the movie so much that I actually got up and walked out of the movie.
Wow.
And the TV series, I was like, okay, maybe they will do that. Nope, I got 2 episodes into it. I was like, have y'all read the damn books? I have yet to see a satisfactory rendition of them from book to film.
Yeah.
And I stand by it. I love that series. Then you don't like the books, because that is not what happens in the books.
I feel like
they don't even look the right way.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of adaptations, I feel like a lot of them are more like fantasy, like just fantasy retellings of like, well, how I would like it to go.
And that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I will give credit to Maggie Stiefvater. Krista, if I didn't say that right, do not message me. I mess up her last name all the time, and I really hate it, because I have her wolf tattooed on my shoulder. Like, I love her books.
Yeah.
But I met her actually at the same event that Krista and I met. And so Krista has the Raven Boys tattoo on her arm, and I have the Timberwolves, because that's where we actually met, and we both love her.
Okay.
But I asked her if she was ever going to have the Timberwolves be a series, because I love that series so much. And she said that she did not give them license to do it because they wanted to kill off a main character, make it a horror movie, and blah, blah. And I was like, no. And she goes, yeah. I was like, don't do that. Don't do that.
some recent ones I found out that they were making into a series. The Fourth Wing one, they're supposed to be making into a series.
Same thing with Court of Thorns and Roses. And I tell you right now that if they don't cast Rhysand correctly, I'm going to lose my mind.
I keep hearing about Rhysand, and like the book club I'm in, they go crazy online.
Rhysand is the king of morally gray.
Yeah. I want to read the book just because of what everybody's been saying about him.
We're gonna take a minute and just.
But I like some Xaden though from Fourth Wing.
Okay, see, I'm gonna have to start that now because I keep hearing about this.
There will be so many.
You read Court of Thorns and Roses, and I will pick up.
Sounds good.
and we will have a conversation because I'm going to tell you there's a trope, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. But all of my Court of Thorns and Roses people know you're going to read the first book. And and all of us are going to be like, that's nice. Then you're going to get to the second book and be like, what the fuck?
I like those moments.
Yes. Yes. I've seen it happen with every single person that reads the book. Oh, this is good. Oh my God. But yes.
Got my curiosity.
The emotional, holy shit that comes out of those books.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and I will say, so I read all the books, have them all in hardback. And then I went back and I've listened to all of them on the podcast where they do the graphic audio, right? And they have each person, like each voice with a different person. It hits a whole different kind of way.
I'm sure.
And you keep waiting for Rhysand's voice to hit because in your brain, by the time that you're finished the series, you know what you want him to look like.
Yep.
And you know what his voice should sound like. And then you hear it and it's like, okay, I'm happy with that. That's good. That works.
I'm going to just keep putting his voice on rewind.
Dude. Because the main line is hello, Farrah, darling. And it needs to be said with the right amount of oomph. And, you're just sitting there listening, going, please don't mess it up. Please don't mess it up. And then, hi.
I got to get in that series, though. Everybody on the book club online have been nuts.
You read it and you can talk to me. And I will pick up, I will go home and I will start Fourth Wing. And that's what we should do. We'll start each other's series and then we'll talk about it.
It's one of those tropes. I'm sure you've heard about it. I mean, without spoiling anything, it's just one of those tropes where, like, they're like frenemies. Is basically like, her mom killed his dad, so they're supposed to be enemies. And
frenemies is a part of Sarah J. Maas's thing, but I don't mind it though because she does it so well.
I love it.
I think of it. That's funny that you mentioned tropes. There are certain tropes. I hate the. Oh no, what am I going to do? I need a big, strong man to come and save me because I'm too...
I like the reverse damsel in distress, the girl who's
give me the girl
stubborn.
Who's going to pick up the warhammer. Sit down, I have this.
I got this.
I do not need you to save me. You can join me, but I am running the show.
Yeah.
Give me that. Yeah. I don't mind the enemies, the lovers, or the frenemy. I don't mind any of that. As long as the female is not a, oh no, girl.
Yeah. My biggest thing with, like, the tropes that I've kind of gotten a little crazy with, like, I'm into all, like, the wolf shifters.
Sure.
Because, I mean, I wrote the Cry Wolf, but one thing I see a lot is, like, alphas and fated mates. And, like, I'm fine with them, but, like, it's so overdone. And it's to the point, like, the fated mates, there's no chemistry. And it's like, I see him in love at first sight. And it's like,
no.
I want you to fight that urge.
Yes, tooth and nail.
Be like, it's wrong. I can't be with him.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so fated males. No!
Yeah.
He's gross and horrible and...
He's a killer.
Yes, I love that whole thing. So yeah, there are certain tropes that I don't mind as long as they're done right. But then there are certain tropes where you just kind of go, oh,
I'm done with it.
Seriously. Yeah, no, and I think that you're going to have some of the tropes that you like with the Court of Thorns and Roses.
I'm sure from everything.
Because there's definitely some stuff that you're just like, I'm really glad they did it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will give you the one caveat that's not really a spoiler is you're going to hate Nesta, but hang tight.
Okay.
Everybody hates Nesta. Nesta is a raging bitch,
Really?
but hang tight. Just the one caveat.
I don't know. I always have this weird thing where I always wind up liking someone and everybody else hates them.
Yeah, no, me too.
So, who knows?
Yeah. I'm okay. I'm really excited. So, okay, that's our agreement. Is you're going to start Court of Thorns and Roses, and I will start.
Fourth Wing.
Yes, thank you. Because I have the books. I just need to start them. So that's what we'll do. I will start that instead of Crescent City too. So I'll swap that over. Well, we're about out of time.
Okay.
I thank you so much. It has been, I knew it was going to be fun talking to you because we talk like this all the time whenever we talk. So I knew it was going to be fun talking with you because you like books as much as I do.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure that you grab her copy of Cry Wolf here at The Spine. You can order it online at thespinebookshop.com, and she's going to be our local author for our local author book club in August. So make sure you pick your copy up so that you can read it and hang out with us. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of The Spine Bookcast, Chronicles of a Bookshop with The Spine Bookshop. Have a great day and happy reading, you guys.